We start by saying very pleasant good morning, everybody, but an extremely, extremely pleasant good morning, everybody, especially if you happen to be on the side of the Hurricanes last night. Once again, South Florida, yesterday at least, as far as the news cycle went, was certainly the center of the sporting universe with two huge stories emerging. I don't know, how big is it that Mike McDaniel got fired? It's big for a lot of other cities because the New York Giants are already crying that there must be. They had picked John Harbaugh to be their man already. A list of candidates. They interviewed Stefanski. He apparently did very well, held up very well. Two-time Coach of the Year. Guy who had done some really good things, but unfortunately was involved with the Cleveland Browns organization, which I don't know. Which is a more butt-effed organization? Cleveland Browns would have to be the worst run franchise right now, maybe in the National Football League. The Raiders, pretty close second, but after the Deshaun Watson debacle, they were essentially ruined. That plunged them into an abyss that I think it'll take a long, long time to recover from. Stefanski couldn't quite get them over the hump as they tried various solutions at the quarterback position, but just they ended up playing a guy that 500 times was passed over in the draft there, Shedeur Sanders. Was their starter at the end of the year. So kind of a hopeless situation. Miami Dolphins, not quite as hopeless. I don't think that you would consider them to be, what would you say? I mean, how do you do this politically correctly? Mentally challenged when it comes to the way they run their organization. The R word is not appropriate.
No, they're mentally deficient. The Dolphins. It's been a lot of, and we'll get into it. Maybe we won't after last night's game. That will probably end up being the focus. They stole the ticker tape back from Dolphins / Harbaugh.
Yes.
But for me, that's where my focus is. I think people around the country have a weird misconception of why the Dolphins are a bad franchise. Steve Ross actually isn't a bad owner. He's actually, as you've talked about for now, the 12 years or 11 years we worked together. And I don't know what you did before we worked together when it came to Stephen Ross, but he's your dream owner from an employee standpoint. He just sucks from a fan standpoint. It's not, when it comes to players and people around the organization, people around the NFL.
Should he be expected, though? I mean, should any owner really be expected? One thing he does, not to cut you off there, but
you're fine.
My perspective on it was a little parenthetical, where, dream owner in a lot of ways, you're not expecting your 80-year-old owner to be like an expert when it comes to personnel.
No, you're hoping he's not.
People that he delegates to apparently have had no concept what they're doing, but they were able to convince this guy. What we said all along, Lubie, I said this from the very beginning when we first started working together, you would want Stephen Ross to buy your radio station.
Yes.
Radio, or whatever platform that you happen to be on, whether you're just, even if you were driving Uber, you would want Stephen Ross to be your boss.
Yes.
Because you can't fail. I mean, even as he's kicking McDaniel out the door, he's like, I love this guy. He's great. He's brilliant. Surprisingly, McDaniel is in hot demand right out of the chute here. It's not like he's Harbaugh, but apparently the conversations have indicated that maybe the Detroit Lions want him as their offensive coordinator. They just fired that guy after 1 year. And that the Browns, actually, the aforementioned Browns who cut loose to Stefanski, are considering now we don't know how relevant these are, how true they are, but this was a speculation that they're interested in McDaniel as their head coach. So he didn't necessarily land into a bottomless pit, and he's getting paid handsomely for not working. So no reason to be overly concerned about his future, but you're assuming that he's probably going to get a job somewhere in football doing something.
Yeah.
Could he not be? I don't know. Would you hire him as a quarterbacks coach?
You got the wrong guy. I'm weird. The two things I learned from the Nation yesterday that I didn't really realize is, one, they have a real weird misconception about the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a horrendously run franchise, but it's because Ross trusts the wrong people. When it comes to being an owner, he's not meddling. He will spend whatever he has to spend. He doesn't care what you do. He'll even let you go against him. He wanted Lamar Jackson. They didn't. Like, he literally is actually the dream owner. He just is naive when it comes to who he picks to handle personnel and then coaches. And he's weirdly loyal, where he gives you a year to 2 extra years. What fans from other program teams don't realize is that's the dream for a coach. An owner that will spend, will let you get any assistance you want at any cost, will let you get any players at any cost, will let you run the franchise however the hell you want, will let you be involved in GM choices, as we know from McDaniel and every coach before. What we've heard was Chris Greer was letting the coach run the show. So what a lot of these friends, I'm fighting with Giants fans, I'm like, they have nothing. I'm like, they have everything from a coach's perspective, you idiots. They have the weather. There's no state tax. They'll let the coach start from scratch and pick his own team. Like, this isn't a new coach. This is a coach who's been around a long time that doesn't want any of that anymore. He's had that with the Ravens. He wants his own way. The Giants are doing it wrong when it comes to Harbaugh. You have an owner who's been sort of weird when it comes to spending in the Maras. Like, they're not known as spend. They're known as spend thrifts more than they're known as just spend. And they already have a GM in place. Like, so I'm like, look, the Dolphins are a disaster, but it's not because Ross is the worst owner. It's because Ross is an idiot. Like,
it's like study hall. It really is, with a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've always thought he was a good owner. You would want this guy. He's willing to spend. People say, well, he doesn't want to win. He does want to win. He just doesn't know how to go about it, unfortunately. And it's not easy. I mean, there's no guarantee that no matter what you do, you can make all the right moves. I mean, look at some of the franchises that are out of the postseason this year.
Bingo.
And to the point where the Baltimore Ravens, a longtime successful franchise, always contenders, and have found ways to be in the mix. They end up firing a guy who's been there 18 years and had 3 losing seasons. Unbelievable. Yes. Three 9-loss seasons, and that's it for John Harbaugh. But Harbaugh being so highly coveted, and now the McDaniel firing clearly seemed to be an attempt to go ahead and make this connection with John Harbaugh. And if you're John Harbaugh, would you take this job? Yeah, I mean, you have autonomy over virtually everything. And the other thing about Stephen Ross and the Dolphins organization, they're not particularly harsh. And are the Dolphin fans kind of sports versions of the MAGA cult? No matter what happens, there's no revolution or anything. Oh, yeah, sure, she was going to run him over.
Yeah, we're bitter, and Jeff Ireland had his tete-a-tetes and all that. But the reality is, we're not Philly. Like, we're not like Chicago.
We don't get overly concerned. Look, the Hurricanes haven't been in the picture, and that was, of course, the big story. The McDaniel thing was surprising only because it sort of triggered a domino effect. Like I said, first thing I saw today in New York Post, I look at the back cover, and it's the big fish here, John Harbaugh.
Losing their mind, yeah.
But they're losing their mind. Dolphins firing McDaniel could make it harder for the Giants to reel in Harbaugh. That's all.
I'm as a Dolphin fan, and we've dealt with stupidity for 20 years. I've been like laughing. I'm like, look, Giant fans, you've won a lot. I don't feel bad for you. Like, let us look good for once. Ross did actually the exact things I would have wanted him to do for the first time in 15 years. So,
and it took a while, even very reluctant. Yes. I mean, that should have been an immediate thing. I thought McDaniel. I don't know that you needed to fire him during the course of the season like they did with Chris Greer. What was the difference? They were playing out the string anyway. So give the guy a shot to see if he could redeem himself. He did very briefly there when they had. But they have a 4-game winning streak after they were 2-6. No, 2-7, I guess they were, and they had a 4-game winning streak. They get it to 6-7, almost get it to 500.
Yes,
thinking, all right, so it's not the greatest situation, but at least the guy has done something and didn't get into a position where he had so-called lost the team.
Yeah, yes. Until the last half.
Like he had lost everything by the end of the season. Except for that aberration where they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who ended up finding themselves very sorry about that as they ended up out of the playoffs. Largely due, they lost like 8 of their last 9 games or something, so they weren't very good. But last night's game, the title game, brings up a lot of stuff, doesn't it, Lubie? That was great. What did you think? I didn't get to see all of it. I ended up going up to see some music last night in Lake Worth, Rudy's Pub, great spot, small place, and yet amazing, the music that was coming out of this place. I thought they had TVs. You ever get, this was like, it's not like it is in the brochure.
Yeah.
And I've been there before, and I thought, well, don't they have a TV above the bar? And I'm not one of these people that has the connection. Should I be able to watch ESPN for free on my phone just by downloading an app, Lubie?
Oh, I don't know. I watch it through the Hulu thing that has increasingly gotten more expensive every year.
Oh, okay.
I watch it now. But if you have a cable system, which you do,
I do. Yeah, I have Xfinity.
every single one nowadays it lets you watch it on your phone because you would run away from them if they didn't. So
Yeah.
usually the Xfinity app, I'm sure, and then you could watch it on your phone.
You'll find this surprising, Mike. But
I know you don't care that much about it, but
no, I wouldn't know how to install it.
yeah, I mean, I'll figure it out today when I see you later.
I attempted it. I didn't mind not watching the game. I mean, it would have been nice to take a.
No, it actually ended up being a really good game. So
I did listen to the fourth quarter on the radio on the way back.
Zaki must have lost his mind.
But I got home in time to see the conclusion, which was the best part of the ball game, also, because I guess I saw the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game on TV once I got home. And after Ole Miss took the lead, were you assuming it was over? And they make the 2-point conversion, and you thought, well, at best, you're going to get to overtime. And then Miami, the Hurricanes, march down the field there. Carson Beck, some real clutch plays, and he rolls into the end zone, and Miami wins, and by the narrowest of margins. This Chambliss brought him back. I mean, look, they never make the call on the so-called. There wasn't really a Hail Mary, a prototypical Hail Mary where you just heave the ball and 10 guys are leaping for it.
So in full disclosure, with my sleep schedule, we've talked about this. I normally would have missed the entire game. I was like, screw it. It's semis. It'll be what we're talking about a lot tomorrow. I'll watch the game. So I watched it in the middle of the third, and I don't know what happened. Like, I got comfortable. Everyone was asleep, and I was watching it in the room, which is probably the mistake. I should have watched it in the other room. I all of a sudden look around. It's midnight, and UM had just won. And I was like, what the hell did I just miss? So I woke up this morning. I reread the whole thing. Yeah. And then I've seen highlights of that play. First of all, it's insane how it went back and forth. Interesting that Ole Miss was able to get down the field on UM's defense that quickly in like 30 seconds, which is
shades of Georgia Tech a few years ago.
Yeah. And that was 100% passer. Like, I get the Hail Mary rule, and I agree. If you chuck it, if you're just chucking in, there's 10 guys in the end zone jostling for position. Who do you call pass interference on? Like, I always think that's weird when the team that is like, it's like, who? Which one? Everyone was pass interference. So, but that was not your right. It was from the 35, and it was just a pass play, and the defender tackled the guy. Like, it wasn't the greatest pass. And by UM
we have got it maybe, but it wasn't the worst pass. I mean, it was on target, Lubie.
By UM standards, after 2002, they weren't going to do that to him again. So no, they wouldn't have called that. But it was. I mean, I'm sorry. Like you've always said, if it's any other time in the game, they're calling that a pass interference. I mean, they are. So whatever you do with it, you do with it. It was a classic. It was back and forth, and it's impressive that UM just didn't kick a field goal going to overtime, which is what we always would have thought. If they even got the chance, they got the lead, which led to the victory, which I give them a lot of credit. It's a very different UM we've seen these last 3 games.
Playing much better overall, no doubt about it.
Which is the way Cristobal's going for it. Like before halves, he'll use timeouts to try and score, even if they don't score. That's stuff they used to always make fun of him for. Yeah. There, instead of just working it to kick a field goal. Remember that game where Beck threw the interception when they were just working it to kick a field goal? He's like instilling the confidence that we're going to go for it. And you're seeing the team, Beck included, Beck running it in from 3 yards out to take the lead. Like the stuff they hadn't done before under Cristobal, you're seeing them do these last 3 games. Like, I have to admit that. I mean, it's cool. Oh, we lost him. Oh, there he is. Yeah, like, even I have to admit that. Like, you're seeing that with your eyes. Like,
there you go.
I have to admit it. You're seeing it with your eyes. Like, he's coaching more go for it than he ever has, and they're playing emboldened in a way they never have under him.
Seems a little bit more inspiring, Cristobal. He's more believable. He's talking about violence and this and that.
I think he's staying out of it. I mean, I think he's coaching less than he's ever coached. If you look at the games, it's almost like Mike McDaniel. Like, but again, that's to his credit. Like, he's realized, okay, I get in the way more. I mean, maybe that's not what's happening. I'll have to talk to someone who's really in the know with you, and maybe Segredo knows more. Well, Segredo's standing by, so we'll bring him on. So maybe he knows more. But like, usually you're seeing him talk to people, and bad things happen. I'm rarely seeing him talk to people, and good things are happening. So I'm assuming he's trusting Brown, this psycho from Minnesota who's a great defensive coordinator, and he's just, okay. And they're playing because they're doing things they've never done before. And it's the stuff we've talked about, the stuff that fans always wonder. We always wonder, why did they do that? We're not doing the why did they do that anymore. So
Well,
to me,
it's hard to imagine that the way they're playing right now, that they managed to lose those 2 games to Louisville and SMU. If they had lost to more lofty, well-respected opposition, even any of the 3 teams they've played in the postseason so far, if they lost any of those games, you go, all right. But the Louisville SMU losses, especially the SMU one, was a stunner, although it wasn't unanticipated. Playing much better ball. Cristobal doing a better job, you would have to say. It'd be nice redemption for him. Uh, Not that we've been critical of Mario Cristobal. Do you think we've been?
but it's been
We
justifiable.
asserted the guy's a
It's
clown.
been justifiable. Every Kane fan said all the same stuff I said. So, and they're going to be as loyal to the program as anyone. Like, he's earned all of it. And my problem with him, and it's why I always said he's a bad coach and he's going to always be, is that he never seemed to learn. He always kept. It's why McDaniel needed to be fired, and that's the next thing I would like to move on to at some point. Why those around the nation have no idea what was going on down here, because they just saw highlights and they just saw stats that they clearly weren't watching games. Mike McDaniel is one of the worst play callers I've ever seen inside the red zone and short yardage in my entire life. So for him my fear, not only I don't want him as a head coach, I don't know about him as an offensive coordinator, because again, he calls the dumbest plays in short yardage and the dumbest plays in red zone. Like, so those are the 2 most important categories as a play caller. So why would every team watch him? They need to have him. I'm like, you guys clearly did not watch Dolphins games. You looked at stat sheets and watched highlight reels. Like,
That thinking back to that left an indelible impression on a lot of people when he put up the 70 on Denver.
yes, that's what everyone remembers. They remember that. The first 2 years.
Let's bring in Tony Segreto here. The flannel shirt is an indicator, and the weird-looking shot that you were somewhere other than South Florida. How are you, Tony? What's going on?
Oh, we got to get his audio.
Oh, we have no audio on Tony Segreto.
You got to figure out. Make sure your sources are right, Tony. I'll take you off and make sure your sources are right.
Yeah. Tony is in some kind of cockamamie situation here. I don't know. Where is he?
He's traveling this week, so that's why we didn't have time with him on Tuesday.
Okay.
We didn't do any tests, which was probably the thing we should have done. So
I always love that in these kind of shows when the guy comes on and he got everything.
Make
and
sure
the guy's going in. I mean, and I'm I'm the worst.
Right.
Settings? What are you talking about settings? Where's that?
Video.
Go to the bottom of your computer screen.
It's fine to do it off air. I just don't enjoy doing it.
I was curious to hear what Tony had to say. He's been a hurricane guy forever. Tony, you have audio working yet, Tony? No, you're miming. That's not good. All right, we'll keep working on that. The professor's going to join us also. Should have a big board and should have a big party pretty soon. The professor with a reasonably substantial stake in the Hurricanes winning the next game. I believe he'll answer and address the question to hedge or not to hedge. But at this point, you would be a fool not to hedge off.
He said last week. I mean, he was very honest that if they get to the title game, you have to hedge.
Tony.
Yeah, we don't got
this isn't a good development, Tony.
Yeah, we don't
a 0 for 3 with a walk. With
try to go to settings and make sure you're on the right microphone, I guess.
All right, so it's been a long period of futility. The last title for the Hurricanes, 2001. So a quarter of a century of no titles.
This is the last time they've played for a championship was 2000. The 2003 year was 2002 season.
Yeah. Coker, and that was the screw job there in
Ohio State.
Oddly, the Fiesta Bowl against Ohio State. From that time, now Coker, I thought Coker made a relatively quick exit after those. He won the title, and he nearly went undefeated 2 years in a row. He actually stuck around until 2006.
Yeah, remember? No, they kept him there. They were competitive in 2003, and then they fell off a cliff. And his recruiting got weird, and the talent that they were bringing in got weird. And it wasn't Miami guys or Miami-style guys. It was more national, more like finesse guys.
Real good guy. Very pleasant to be around, which is another one of those things like McDaniel. He goes 60-15. Now, he started out like 23-1.
Yeah.
And then he goes 60-15. You could see the tide was turning there, much like it did when people thought the game had passed on Shula by, that just something wasn't quite right to keep at that top level. Then they go to Randy Shannon. He goes 28-22 from 2007 to 2010. Al Golden comes in. Al Golden for Al Golden Chevrolet. We have the best used cars anywhere that you'll find in South Florida. Al Golden. He looked like a used car salesman. Slick, though, 32-25. You would have to say that was a failure. Mark Richt comes in. We thought that was going to be great. That was going to be the solution. They finally hired a big-name coach who had success at a high level They were paying some money out. They were going to pay the assistants. That was always a big argument with the Hurricanes regarding their inability to replicate what they had done from the late 80s into 2000, early 2000s. Richt was supposed to be the solution. He was very briefly, right? Didn't they get off to a 10-0 start one year with Mark Richt, and then they got clobbered the last couple of games? Goes 26-13, and Manny Diaz comes in from 2019 to 21. And that was it. They finally bring in Mario Cristobal, big money, and he has now delivered them right to the doorstep of a championship. Unbelievable. And you would have to think, look, are they going to be overwhelmed by either Indiana or Oregon? I would imagine. Will they be favored? I don't think so. Underdog to either team?
No, yeah. No, we've gotten back to the place where we were before.
Okay.
They are, I don't know where it is, but they will be the underdog to Indiana for sure.
Indiana for sure. Maybe
Oregon. I don't know what to do with Oregon because Oregon has had struggles. Their defense is playing the best it's played all year. Their offense is struggling. So Oregon, Miami are very similar stories to me because both have a lot of talent. Both have good coaches. Both offenses, I think, are underwhelming compared to what they should be. And both defenses are playing lights out.
Yeah. Great stuff, though. I mean, I'm glad I caught the last portion of the game there on TV once I got home because that was extremely exciting. And I would have to say it was kind of fun listening to the radio broadcast just because of the drama that was there. Josie and Don Bailey Jr. on the call, and they were referencing this drama quite consistently all throughout the fourth quarter. The good thing is, and this was always a thing, everybody that was on AM radio wanted to somehow be on FM. The fact that QAM has now gone to an FM signal with the 104.3, used to be the Shark, made it actually listenable all the way up to Lake Oregon. Nice. Otherwise, I would have been dealing with static there the whole way through. It would have been like the old days when you were in bed with it. Well, you didn't live in this era where you would have a transistor radio and then you'd be getting some game bleeding in. All of a sudden, you're getting like Johnny Most calling a Celtic game in the middle of the night, and your mother happens to walk by the room. In this case, my sweet mom, and she would say, "Jeff, are you still awake? You have school tomorrow." And you're listening to Havlicek steals the ball. Unbelievable. And you were so happy to get an out-of-town ball game being broadcast because we didn't have the saturation of broadcasts on TV. I used to get one game a week. Imagine that was either the Rangers or the Knicks, and that was it. Tony on the telephone, is that what we're going to do? We're going to try that? Yeah, Tony, how are you, my friend? You all right?
Opinion on things.
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really happy. I'm very excited. I was exhilarated by and inspired by this Hurricane victory and this nice Hurricane run. I don't know that people anticipated they would get to the championship game after some of the stuff that went on during the season. What was your feeling about it? Where did you take it in? You're on the road. Are you at a Days Inn or something? That didn't look like that.
I'm in Pooler, Georgia. I'll be back late today. I watched the game. I watched the whole game. I got little sleep. It was incredible. It was for all the Hurricane fans who doubted, including me.
Yeah.
Including me. Shame on us. Shame on us.
Trampled. You were like one of those guys that goes through the barrier there at the railroad crossing and is sitting on the tracks. You were getting trampled by the fact that the Hurricanes. I mean, it seemed like you had jumped off the bandwagon there, Tony, and it was time to jump out of the car. But they've rebounded. They're clearly playing as well or better than they did at any point during the season. I think that's a fairly easy observation.
Any point during the season that they're playing really well, and Malachi Tony is the real deal, and he and Cristobal. He, for all of his maladies, he is letting the team play, and he's staying out of it, and he is coaching, and he's coaching his ass off.
Carson Beck has improved his play, not as vulnerable and suspect to make a big mistake. He had one interception, I guess, on a tip ball in his game yesterday.
And that was early, though.
Yeah, and that was early in the game, but delivered. When they got the ball, I thought at best they're going to get a field goal and this game's going to overtime.
Yeah, they were moving the ball all night.
But to
I
come
did
through
too.
the touchdown, that was incredible. And weren't there? I mean, I didn't see the very early portion of that drive, but yeah, I mean, there were some good conversions that he made during the course of that drive. Also,
They got a 3rd and 10 and a 2nd and 11.
yeah. So that was good. All right. So how do you feel about it all, Tony? Can you summarize your feelings? You must be euphoric.
I'm euphoric. I'm just so happy for Mario. I'm so happy for the team. I I can't imagine what the Jackie's like today because he
was beside himself. Your man Joe, absolutely beside himself. His call got on ESPN. It wasn't too overblown. I mean, you could actually distinguish the words. But he throws in a lot of stats. I didn't realize this. I haven't heard of Joe Zagacki listen for a long period of time.
Joe, let me say this. Joe learned from Sonny and from me how to do a football game, and stats are important. And stats
goes in a lot of stuff. I mean, just arbitrarily.
He is. I don't say this often, but he learned all of it from me and Sonny.
Oh yeah, nice.
How he prepares, and now he's established his own system, but he's got a this morning, and he's home. He's home now. I mean, he'll be home, and there'll be those tickets for the national championship.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, Tony.
I don't have them.
Can you get a hold of that Hertz guy? I think Lubie and I should be sitting in those 40-yard line seats. No.
No. Stay away from me.
From my friend's sick grandmother. Come on, Tony. What's wrong with you? They're going for like $3,000 a month for nose.
You don't see me, but hear my words clearly. I don't have any.
Oh, come on, Tony.
A-N-Y. Any.
You expect us to believe that? You're on the Orange Bowl committee. You're on the board of directors for the University of Miami. You're a legendary sportscaster. Everybody loves you, and you have no tickets for this game? Come on.
None. Zero.
Well, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to get? And if you do, how little intention do you have of including us?
I'm gonna change my phone number.
So this is under the lose my number. Very nice. All right, Tony. So you won't be going. Get out of here. I mean, maybe you weren't planning on being in town. When is the game? Is it like a week from Monday?
It's next Monday. It's a week from Monday. It's the 19th.
All right. Are you planning on being in town, or would you change your plans?
He's not back for a while. Or are you?
What?
Yeah, when don't you come? You come back soonish.
I come back today.
And how long are you staying?
South Florida?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Know.
So you would? Oh,
I may go back. I may go back just to get out of the fray.
I can't believe you're not going to be at this ball game. It seems impossible. Somebody has to extend you an invitation, Tony. I see you in a suite sucking down a couple of hot dogs, a little mustard, maybe some relish.
Very winnable game.
A couple of beers, a couple of $20 beers, and just hobnobbing. Hey, Tony, good to see you, man. Isn't this incredible? Since 2001, 25 years, Tony Segreto, of what looked like it was going to become very much Dolphin syndrome, where no matter how much high hopes you had or how many high hopes you had before the season, they were usually dashed somewhere by midseason. But this was great. All right, and safe travels, Tony. So you're jumping back in the car now. We have to run, but and we're sorry about the technical difficulties, people, because it's always good to see Tony Segreto. It's an inspiration to see a guy that's like 75 years old. It looks like he's in his 30s. It's fantastic. But
I need you every morning, Jeff.
Right, that's great. I mean, it's better to look good than to feel good. Although I'm beginning to think that maybe that's not the case.
I don't think that's true.
No. It's better to feel good than 100%.
Yeah. You're right. All right. Well, be careful out there. Did you take the snow tires off, or are you just are you? And driving alone, Tony, you don't have your dog with you for companionship.
Tony is a trooper.
Yeah, you're unbelievable, man.
We love you,
Jumps
Tony.
in
Be
the car,
safe.
drives like
Happy New Year.
4,000 miles to Vermont.
Good luck to your Canes. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, we love you, Tony. Thanks so much. Always a pleasure. Sorry about the technical difficulty, people, with Tony Segreto, but we had to get him in there. And of course, Tony's appearances always brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. Ed Garcia unavailable. I don't. We haven't been able to get a hold. Is there something to this? We haven't been able to get Ed on the show since the Sharon Moore thing.
No, didn't we have him on? We had him on a week or so.
We
ago.
had him on one time. I don't think so.
We just moved on. We talked about other stuff. I think
we skipped over it because he's a sponsor.
Because Michigan's basketball has been good and the Pistons have been good. So
hey, how about that Dusty May?
Right, tiptoe around everything, but
they playing great ball.
Talk about tiptoeing. This gentleman doesn't tiptoe.
Oh, this is great.
Around anything.
All I could think of.
You gotta love that you lose a sponsor over the Sherrod Moore story. What's a little sexual harassment and attempted assault and murder-suicide when it's between friends?
We'd like to move on here, Professor, and talk about how wonderful it is. I think
I dropped in, and I'm wondering why I get bounced for Segreto because normally he's what a Wednesday thing. And then you get into mooching free tickets, and I'm like, oh, of course. That was the whole setup there.
Yeah, I was trying to get a couple for you.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Don't you want to be at this game, Professor?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I feel like there might be a little magic in the air around my movie room because, normally a New Year's game and a playoff game, I'd have gone out. But, I hate going out on New Year's. So I decided I'd watch it here, and we beat Ohio State. And then last night was just one of those weird things. Everybody had to work early in the morning. So I ended up watching here and overcome not just a long-running Fiesta Bowl curse, but also, by the way, a bogus pass interference call on a crucial 3rd and 8 in the Fiesta Bowl. Never seen that before.
Yep.
But also, again, Mario Cristobal and Shannon Dawson actively trying to lose the game. We're running for 8 yards of play. So every time it gets crucial, let's break out some trick play they've been running from since the 1940s. That's going to take points off the board. Who knows some good ones? We got the double reverse and the flea flicker. Holy Christ. If you, like me, are an advocate of the Mario curse, they sure tried last night. But
Lubie was singing his praises. Wait a minute. You didn't talk to Lubie before this appearance because Lubie was saying how Cristobal is.
I didn't notice.
He's out coaching Ryan.
I don't know if you want to put it on Cristobal, you want to put it on Shannon Dawson.
I don't think it's Cristobal. I think it's Dawson.
You could pick either one of those, although it did seem like repeatedly every time they got to about the 30, 35-yard line, they're like, it's time to break out some weird gimmick play that's going to blow up in our face. Look, super happy. From a Canes perspective, not only did you get the win, but I think you kind of walked away feeling like got the win in a spot where we did not make our best accounting of ourselves. Again, from just a strategic standpoint, a bunch of things I didn't like. Hopefully, they'll get those over and done with next round. Although I think the level of difficulty goes way up in the next game, and maybe that's appropriate. So we'll see. I mean, look, I would say I'm basically the 3rd happiest man in America. Number 1 happiest man in America, even though he's going to lie about it. Clearly Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, if you were around, it was partying like a mofo at the end of that game last night.
That would have been amazing.
Cost a few million, though.
Number 2 happiest man in America, Michael Irvin's cocaine dealer.
Yep.
Yes. It's sky high on these games.
Made himself a whole bunch of money last night.
Yeah.
And number 3, me. So, that's not bad. Top 3.
All right, we're going to get into the magic question, to hedge or not to hedge, the Shakespearean dilemma.
100% hedging. It's funny.
Did you already hedge?
You said you were going to send it in right away.
Through the first quarter of that game, I was trying to talk myself out of the hedge.
Yeah.
Because really, I thought Miami for the first couple drives really dominated that game. 3 and out, and then they go on a long drive that they ended up getting a field goal out of, but could have very easily wound up with a touchdown. Then another 3 and out, and then we ran into the stupid trick play, cost us potential more points on board. So I was sitting there going man, this team is really good on both lines of scrimmage. And then the rest of the game kind of demonstrated, all the reasons why 100% you should hedge. So yes, I will be hedging roughly with 30 seconds to a minute after this game tonight ends and we know the matchup. And hopefully the home field advantage will make the money line a more friendly hedge. I think particularly if it's Oregon, it probably will. I think if Oregon wins this game, probably looking somewhere around to pick them.
That's what I'm thinking.
And if Indiana wins this game, I'm looking at Indiana probably like -3, 3.5, about where tonight's game is. So, like I said, hopefully the home field advantage for the Canes will mitigate the money line a little bit. But yes, I'm determined to hedge. You just saw
I think so. Sure.
too many things last night that are false.
Well, and a big number there. All right, we're going to come back. We'll talk about that and take a look at tonight's ball game as well, and speculate a little bit about the future matchup, either Indiana or Oregon for the Canes. And big board forthcoming also, Professor. Did you?
Yes.
Okay, we got a big board coming up as
He's also
well.
a Dolphin fan, and we've always had our opinions about Mike McDaniel. So,
this could be
at least throw his.
Well, they're all good, but
$1.50 because his opinion.
I'm actually much more pro Mike McDaniel.
I know you are. That's what I'm saying. You'll give a very objective opinion as a Dolphin fan.
All right, we'll see if we can find some redemption here in terms of public opinion for Mike McDaniel with the Professor coming up in a moment. Now that
the time.
He's a great coach. It's 8:38.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe B.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
Games, you have to win the game, not lose the game, honestly. And that is how you lose the game. You're moving the ball down the field. You're 1st and 10. And then you find yourself at 2nd and 20. That was critical.
Buenos dias. The cafecito is piping hot. Why not enjoy it with Defo and Lubie? It's now time for the Defo Show.
Very succinct breakdown there by Mike McDaniel of that whatever hideous loss that was. It was one of many during the course of the season. All right, welcome back to the show. We got the Professor here. We have another game tonight, a very important game. The Peach Bowl features Indiana, one of the surprise programs. A couple of years ago, you would have never imagined this. And Cignetti comes in there, and a remarkable turnaround in 2 seasons. They were completely as dominant as you could possibly be of any team in the playoffs in any single performance against Alabama. They looked great. Of course, they had beaten Ohio State, which was a little less of a distinction after Miami did the same in the conference championship game. And now they take on Oregon. I thought Oregon was very impressive. I didn't know that the score was indicative of how thorough a beating they gave Texas Tech in that ball game, Professor. And I don't know where you stand.
I'm going to completely disagree with you. I thought that game was every bit as close as the score. I mean, the Oregon defense did a great job, but I thought Oregon's offense struggled a bit.
They left a lot of points out there.
Very, very good Texas Tech defense. So I don't think there's a ton of shame in the fact that we struggled against an elite defense for Texas Tech. It's an interesting. I mean, number one, of course, Texas Tech, the only team in 2 years that has managed. I mean, not Texas Tech, Indiana, the only team in 2 years that has managed to win a game after a bye, which indicates to you that if you're a coach, the best plan to keep your players fresh on a bye is to kidnap members of their family and tell your players that you will duct tape a plastic bag over their head if they, allow themselves to get rusty and don't work hard over the last couple weeks of the bye. That's of course, reference to Indiana's serial killer coach, Kurt Signetti. So, by the way, if Indiana were to advance, keep your eye out for, people setting fires and kidnapping small pets in your Miami neighborhood. But I think we have an interesting matchup. Look, we have a rematch of a game from what was it, late October, early November, like a game that took place a while ago. That Indiana went out to Oregon and won 30-20, and a lot of people in the media are kind of painting it as if Indiana went out and dominated the game, which really was not the case.
I remember that.
It was 20-20 midway through the fourth quarter, and Indiana pulled away with a couple scores at the end. It was actually a very close competitive game. I think it wasn't late October, it was early October. So this was a while ago. Mendoza did throw a key pick six in that game, so Oregon did manage to confuse him a bit. And I think Oregon's actually better now. If you're asking me who's more improved since the beginning of the season, I would probably say Oregon a little bit. I think Dante Moore has consistently improved throughout the season. That's the other sort of sideline to this game, is this could very well be not just for the advancing, but for who's going to be the number one draft pick in the NFL. Because while it was all Mendoza like about a month ago, it's now sort of like a 50-50 split, with a lot of teams favoring Moore's physical gifts over Mendoza's sort of, overall more accuracy and higher cerebral processing abilities. So I think much like that, we're going to get a really interesting game tonight. Unfortunately, with both these semifinals, I don't know if there was been a great pick available on any side. Like, I'm glad for the people who won on Miami, but I don't know that you could have felt like, I had the right bet all along with that. Same here tonight. I kind of favor Oregon plus the 3.5, as long as it stays at 3.5. If it dips down to 3, I think that hook could be big. And I don't know that the over-under is a lot of people leaning over. I guess if you force me to take it, that would be my lean. But I don't know that there's a great angle on this game in terms of a play. So very weak leans towards Oregon and towards the over. But, again, if we were to get something like we got between Texas Tech and Oregon, and it ended up like, 20-16 Indiana, I certainly wouldn't be shocked by that result in the least. Two really good, evenly matched teams. They don't really do similar things philosophically. Oregon very much like the University of Miami, by the way. I mean, like that at a core level, that's what they are. They are brutal along both lines of scrimmage, and they want to beat you with the power running game. Indiana wants to use the running game to set up the vertical passing game, kind of like a Jimmy Johnson team, which is what we've sort of been suggested. They're a little bit undersized along the front, but they use a lot of speed in the front seven to make up for that. I really kind of a coin flip here. I lean slightly Oregon just because of the points, and I lean slightly to the over just because, 46.5, 48.5, that's a really low total for a college game. So
I'm saying 48 and a hook here, but this
okay.
is yesterday's news.
Yeah, no, but it could still be there. I saw it dropping a little bit when the game ended last night, so we'll see. Again, slight leans towards Oregon, slight leans towards the over, but nothing real. I'm just prepping for what should be hopefully another classic college football in the Peach Bowl.
Well, and the
and for Mike Mayo's notes last week, you will be able to get Chick-fil-A during the game because it is a Friday night.
Oh, it's Friday. Yeah, they'll have Chick-fil-A.
Very nice. All right. And no intention to go down to the Orange Bowl and pay like $3,000 to sit in the upper deck and watch this thing in person. Now,
I'm tempted, but no. Look, we all know the city of Miami and Dade County and South Florida in general for big events. It gets a little too wacky.
Yes,
out there.
I'm with you.
And
the ice people being in the parking lot is probably going to be
again, if Indiana makes it there, I want to be home with my shotgun just in case Kurt Signetti's somewhere near my neighborhood. I love my dogs very much, and I don't want to see them get killed and sacrificed.
You're eating your dogs. You're eating your cats. All right, let's do it. Are you ready for the big board? The big board for this week. Mike McDaniel, of course, the other story. Lubie tipped this off that this is what it pertains to.
No, it's not Mike. Look, I didn't hate Mike McDaniel as much as everybody else. I thought the Miami Dolphins over the last few years are more of a Chris Grier problem than a Mike McDaniel problem. Do I have my issues with some of the same things you do? Yes. What did the play calling tend to get screwy on 3rd and short and goal line situations? Yeah. I mean, he was more like, but by the same token, Grier never gave him a power running back until his last season here. I mean, prior to the arrival of Ollie Gordon, our average running back size was 198 pounds.
Oh, you had Raheem Mostert, though. I mean, he had a big year.
Again, Mostert is a pretty good inside runner, but he's not a big guy. I mean, he was basically a guy who went exactly 200 pounds. It's hard to gain yards just charging a guy that size into the line over and over again and playing that more conventional style of football. So, again, to me, most of the issues, I know everybody's excited about Harbaugh, but one person, Dursa, did mention to me that I kind of agree with. You got to be a little worried that John Harbaugh is late-stage Don Shula, right? That he's a guy who had coached his entire career with one philosophy and then got a quarterback and totally changed the way he views the game of football. And it never worked out for Don Shula. He spent the last, 15 years of his career trying to throw the ball 50 times and win football games with Dan Marino. And look, we all love Dan Marino, but it never worked for the Miami Dolphins. Harbaugh, the same thing. If you watch that game Sunday night, a team that had been built on defense and had nothing but success for decades, all of a sudden doesn't have anybody on the defensive side of the ball and is trying to win games throwing 70-yard passes to Zay Flowers. Now, it almost worked, but it's almost worked in Baltimore 3 or 4 times in the past, and it just didn't work. So do I have worries that, John Harbaugh is in that phase of his career? I do. But I think he's pretty clearly the best guy out there at the moment. I mean, I know other people really like Kevin Stefanski, but apparently a couple teams really like Michael McDaniel, and we hate him like poison here. So we'll see. I'm going to tell you, I personally don't think, because Chris Grier and his personnel people have dug this team into such a horrible contract hole, things aren't getting notably improved in Miami for a few years. This is a team, it's a total financial retooling. Tyreek, as much as South Florida love him, he's got to go with that contract number coming off injury.
Him and Chubb are the first two.
Got to go. Bradley Chubb's got to go. There's just too much money being spent on guys who are not productive or in the downhill run of their career. So I don't think it's going to be an easy process for anybody, and I don't think Harbaugh, even if we get him, is going to be some sort of savior. So we'll see.
All right. With that, we go and introduce our favorite feature on the show. A good way to wrap up every week. The professor and this week's edition of the Big Board.
It's only January 9th, people, and we're already full steam ahead in the world of sports. So that is this week's Big Board. If you want to pull that up there, please. The Big Board of the world in sports in 2026, which is already completely freaking insane. We're 9 days into this, and last night's game isn't the craziest thing that's happened in the world of sports in just 9 days. So let's start with number 5, which is Tom Brady supposedly going rogue and has the entire NFL upset with him because his number 1 coaching candidate for the Las Vegas Raiders is supposedly Brian Flores. And let me just say, no couple in the history of humanity has deserved each other more than Tom Brady and Brian Flores. This is the greatest pairing I get. This is a better pairing than Tom Brady being naked on a massage table and Tom Brady's children. This is a greater pairing than Brian Flores' lawsuit and Eric Bieniemy's career, since 97% of Brian Flores' lawsuit wasn't based on himself, but was based on the career of Eric Bieniemy. This is the greatest pairing I don't know. I like since Mario
Sonny and Cher.
ball and screwy trick plays on 2nd and 4 from the other team's 30. Like I can't express to you how happy it makes me the idea of these two being a couple out in Las Vegas. Like this is just so perfect because if anything else, if you're Tom Brady, you got to be a little bit worried that Brian Flores is going to screw you over and try to help Drake May and the New England Patriots. Like you have to deal with this now, Tom, not just us. But yes, please allow this to happen, NFL. Please, Roger Goodell, I don't care about the law. Settle the lawsuit and let Tom Brady hire Brian Flores as the coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. This could not make me happier, honestly.
It lends some credibility also to your conspiracy theory that
Yes.
Brady was in on the Belichick plant of Brian Flores to ruin and singularly.
I'm honestly very disappointed that at this point you're still calling this a conspiracy theory.
Well, would this not be the
I feel
reward?
like this is hard proven facts.
Like you go down there and ruin the Miami Dolphins, and I guarantee you, I'll be in a position where I can help you out later on. And here we go. All of a sudden, Brian Flores to coach the Las Vegas Raiders. Right?
You know how bad it has gotten for Brian Flores? I don't know if you saw that this weekend, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is now giving interviews saying, well, the problem I have with hiring Brian Flores is that everybody hated him. Like, when the quarterback who you screwed Tua over to start is now against you, like, do you have any friends left, Brian Flores? Yeah, I guess yes, one, Tom Brady.
He kind of made Fitzpatrick resurrected the whole idea that this guy was a very, very competent quarterback late in his career by giving him that job.
Again, when even Ryan Fitzpatrick has now gone negative,
that's bad. Yeah.
Brian Flores, like I don't know if there's anybody in the league other than Tom Brady who's still your friend, Brian Flores.
Not a ringing endorsement. All right, that's number 5. Number 4.
Number 4, and a man who is always very reticent and shy to claim credit. Claimed credit this week. Mark Cuban came out and confirmed long-running rumors that he is basically Indiana football's sugar daddy. Now, look, I got to admit, I was never a fan as the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. There was a little rivalry there with him and the Miami Heat. And, he came across like kind of a jerk-off if you were even. But Mark Cuban is basically transformed into the billionaire that I would like to personally be.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you own the Mavericks. That would seem fun. And you weren't like the usual billionaire owner where I sat hidden in my skybox with my, Saudi royal friends and, never like he was the owner who was in the front row having a good time. Then he went and did the TV show, which is a pretty cool concept of TV show. Of people with cool ideas come and beg me for money. And on top of it ended up being a hit TV show. And now he's like, well, now that it's within the rules for me just to throw piles and piles of money at my college's football program, I'm going to do that. So Mark Cuban, again, has come out, and this has been rumored for a couple of years that this was going on. Cuban is the single richest alumni of the University of Indiana, which I honestly – the school's been around for 100 years. You would actually expect there to be some old money family that had gone there, that has owned a paper mill for 150 years or something like that. I was a little surprised to find out that Cuban was actually the single richest. Came out and announced it, and then noted that after this year's success, they were going to be smiling even broader than they were last year, indicating that he had written, once again, an even bigger check for Indiana football. And in response, here's Curt Cignetti's smile when he got the big check.
Not the happiest.
Curt Cignetti at maximum happiness right there. Completely enjoying himself at the idea of Mark Cuban's gigantic check. Well, at the same time, worrying about the college girls he's got trapped in his basement, whether or not they'll put the lotion in the basket.
That's euphoric by Cignetti's standards in terms of appearance. I noticed that when they were blowing out Alabama, I mean, right down to the final seconds there, he still had that scowling look on his face. All right, that's number 4.
He's got other things in his mind. When you have the senator's daughter locked up because you're trying to harvest her skin, like, you got other things in your mind other than how many times have we sacked Ty Simpson?
Number 4. Mark Cuban.
Number 3, a story with a little bit of a darker turn, but really, how surprised can we be? Which is the soccer stadium in Guadalajara, Mexico, which they are renovating for World Cup matches. They found 456 bodies buried in plastic bags underneath the parking lot.
Holy Jimmy
Which,
Hoffa.
again, given cartel violence and the number of people who vanish in Mexico, isn't surprising. But I think the media is missing the bigger story here, which is how much time has Curt Cignetti spent in and around Guadalajara, Mexico?
Could be a connection, sure.
Because sure, we got to worry about the El Chapo connections and the cartel wars involved in this. But it's just as equally likely that Curt Cignetti decided to do some hunting at one off season after James Madison in and around Guadalajara.
Jesus.
And that's why the soccer stadium parking lot is just overloaded with human remains.
That's number 3. This is all in the early stages of 2026, too. We're only, 9 days into it. Number 2.
And number 2, I don't want to get political on the show. We don't want to get political on the show. But someone intersected with the world of sports this week, and I feel obligated to issue a strong warning here. And that is number 2, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says he is going to ensure that World Cup ticket prices are kept reasonable so that all the people have access to World Cup soccer, and that he will personally appoint a World Cup czar. Look, Zoran, I do not agree with any of your ideas economically. Like, I honestly, like, them putting Maduro in your city makes me think the World Cup czar is going to be Nicolas Maduro. But
they spring him on bail.
This is not dealing with the unions. This is not dealing with the firefighters. This is not dealing with the Republican Party even. FIFA will have you murdered if you get in there. Like, I'm not saying
they were responsible for the stuff going on in Mexico.
I'm not saying that, like Curt Cignetti, FIFA just piles up bodies and bodies and bodies, but I am 100% saying the commissioner of FIFA has a list of international assassins in his phone in case anybody proves to be too troublesome. I don't know if you ever watched that Netflix documentary on the Italian soccer fixing back in the early 2000s, but like 4 people mysteriously died from that, and they were all like in their 40s and 50s. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that FIFA, if you become too much of a pain in the ass and get in their way of all the tickets being sold to, billionaires and Latin pop stars, will have you killed. There's no question in my like. Stick to your, people who don't play rough and tumble, Zoran McDaniel, like the mafia. Like, you're much better off messing with them than you are messing with big soccer and a World Cup and the ticket prices.
Anybody seen Sepp Blatter?
Exactly.
His whereabouts unknown at this point? I think so. All right, that's number 2. Number 1 on the list.
Number 1, again, getting into an interesting area here, and that is former Carolina Panthers center Matt Khalil is suing his ex-wife, and you're not going to believe the reason of this lawsuit. He's suing her for $75,000 because his ex-wife, Haley Khalil, 2 years ago went on a podcast and said that the reason for their divorce was that Khalil's genitals were too large for her and sex was painful because of it. And compared the size of his junk to 2 Coke cans stacked up on top of each other. Khalil has now claimed that she has released personal and damaging information by doing this and is suing her for $75,000 returned from their initial divorce settlement. Matt Khalil, there's not a single male on earth who's going to agree with you when they come to this judgment that, I deserve $75,000 because my ex-wife went on a podcast and said my junk was too big. What was the other thing? You were too strong and good looking for her? Like, you made too much money and were too great a football player? Like, you want a jury to actually award your money because your ex-wife said your genitals
praised you.
There's not a single man on earth who's giving you a nickel in this lawsuit. Like,
every woman
you better have an all-female jury who understands your problems, because there's not a single man anywhere who's giving you they may make you pay her some extra money just for the promotion.
Exactly.
I mean, when they
If I'm the judge If I'm the judge in this case, I'm be like, no, you need to give her another $250,000 because you can't buy this kind of good press.
They make him pull his pants down on the stand.
Exactly.
So people can see for themselves.
Again,
I want to be on that jury. I mean, that would be one of my, fabled. Just ignore the jury pool letter. And
I actually did that early December. I forgot about it. It just
well, how do they know you got it? Is always the question.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, you can always say, well, what?
Mailman screwed it up.
Yeah, I never got
Anyway, this is the dumbest lawsuit in the history of dumbest lawsuits.
That was a beauty. Yeah, I
Your
saw
Honor, I'm emotionally damaged because my wife said I'm just way too large down there. I need $75,000.
Holy dingo! I mean, that's as wild a story as you could get. All right, excellent job as always, Professor. Congratulations. To hedge or not to hedge, you've already made your decision. I think you have to, with what's at stake there. And
I mean, it's not just the money; it's the. I feel like,
I feel this way though. If you
Yeah.
put a decent sum of money, which in this case you did by most people's standards,
you can go. I'm gonna get.
You don't want to lose it, after being right about everything. So,
again, you don't want to lose it because
Well, was there an early buyout on this thing? Are they offering you money? No, they don't do that.
Yeah, again, I didn't go through Hard Rock. I don't participate with Hard Rock.
Okay, because usually they're begging you to sell.
Anyway, I don't want to lose it because down 3 with 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
From the 6, Cristobal decides to break out the double reverse wide receiver pass.
Going with a flea flicker. It's always appropriate in those spots.
Or or honestly, again, please, if just in case any Hurricanes coach, please stop putting freaking Tony in the Wildcat. He is not supposed to be a Wildcat back. He's Lubie's size. Like the Wildcat is meant for Darren McFadden type running backs. Like it's supposed to be a big, powerful back who can run through the middle. Make Tony the motion man, the Felix Jones role in the Wildcat. He should not be the guy catching the snap. But Fletcher should be the one catching the snap. I don't know why, an offensive coaching staff can't figure this out, but watch some tape of the Wildcat. Like backs built like Mark Fletcher are the ones who play the quarterback role in the Wildcat.
Footnote on everything, I guess a fitting way to conclude from Don Jaffe on the chat line. If the rubber doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Tell it to Matt Khalil.
All right, Professor, great stuff.
Nobody's giving you a dime for that lawsuit.
No, that's
keep rolling with the Hurricanes. Let's hope they can do it. And thanks so much for being with us. I think I did send you this link for the upcoming.
I have very exciting total non-opinions to give on this game.
Oh,
tonight.
Beautiful. That's the
very weak, timid, womanly opinions. To give
just good handicap.
I'm being honest. I have no idea.
Even matched. It's not even a match game.
Yeah.
All right, Professor. Thanks so much, and Lubie. Our thanks to Tony Segreto. A little bit of a awkward presentation of Tony's thoughts there. Although he has done a 180 like many of us. Was he willing to concede? The Professor still throwing some shots there.
I still think Cristobal's a horrendous coach. Like I've never changed that opinion. I don't like him. I just think, from what I've seen, yes, there was a one play where it was like 2nd and 1, and they did some double reverse and lost 3. But I didn't know they did that all game. Like I passed out in the beginning of the 3rd quarter, so I don't know what they did in the second half. I just know for the most part, like you've seen them move the ball in a way they weren't earlier in the season. So I was giving him credit for letting I put those on Dawson. Those are stuff that Cristobal wouldn't do. Cristobal is a fan of running it into the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
So if it's working, he's not going to do it less. So that's when that actually, to me, underscores my point is that Cristobal stayed the hell out of it. And Dawson has gotten them in trouble, I guess, with those plays, but they've also gone down the field and won games at the end of games, which they never would have done before. They would have pussyfooted and he would have thrown a pick, or they would have settled for a field goal. Like, to me, that even shows more that Cristobal's not really involved and that Dawson is just able to do what the hell he wants. And he's being a madman and doing things he's never done before because he's now free. Like
unfiltered, my friend.
I don't think Cristobal sucks as a coach. Like I'm not a fan of him. I think he's a great recruiter and I don't trust him at all, but I'm giving him credit for staying the hell out of it. A la Dan Campbell a lot of the time when he actually had good coordinators as opposed to this year when he didn't. And the Lions
are Dan Campbell and Mike McDaniel.
That's what people are saying. Well, because again, it's an offensive mind. So Dan Campbell can just stay the hell out of it.
I don't know that he will, though, when McDaniel starts making those goofball calls down inside the 5-yard line.
Bingo. That's the problem.
Exactly what the professor is saying about Mario Cristobal. Just stick to the basics. Jack Webb School of Journalism. Give me the facts.
Yep.
And don't get cute. That's always been one of our big credos here. Don't get cute. All right, Lubie. Speaking of cute, you got to take care of young Luca Panici Lubitz here, and we're going to get out of here. And we'll see you on Monday. A lot of fun. Congratulations to the Hurricanes. Congratulations on Stephen Ross. Even if it's not the right move, even if it doesn't result in a successful coach, at least he did something. All right. Did something besides getting up and having a bowel movement this morning, which at 80, whatever he is, you're just hoping it passes without too much pain. For me, I hate to say this because it's an ugly way to end the show, but as you get older, all of a sudden you feel like a new fish at Oz every time you go to the bathroom.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like you've been involved in a prison rape. All right. Thanks so much, people, for being with us. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:07. Dave Parker.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.